Nelly and Ashanti are catching a lot of heat right now and attention about their dynamics within their marriage. People feel very strongly about how, in their words, they're saying that Ashanti settled for Nelly. And their reason to justify that is the fact that he doesn't want much to do with their recent child when it comes to changing the child's diaper and just child care. And they're saying he's an uninvolved father. And you guys know the only advice these chicks know to give any woman who's struggling in any capacity at all in a relationship is divorce him. That's all they say, right? That's the only advice that they give. And most of them are single, and it explains why.
I'm going to say this. Ashanti settled for Nelly. She settled for Nelly because there is absolutely no way that she, Nelly, her mama, or whoever else is going to sit there and convince me that sis is actually happy being with him, because you're not in a real marriage, or it seems like a real cohesive partnership where both of y'all are doing work in the relationship. In fact, he barely participates in the relationship. He already ran down the rules and explained to her that when she have that baby, I'm not getting up in the middle of the night. I'm not changing Pampers or anything. This is supposed to be your wife. This is her first child. You ain't new to this. She is. And you can't support your wife during postpartum. Make sure she's well rested and getting her rest, because the baby's already going to be attached to her. She's breastfeeding. And you can't get up to check on your child or to change diapers?
All right. So listen, we have an expert here, a woman who is probably not married, who wants to let you know what a real marriage looks like. Let me paint you guys a different picture here. I actually do agree with an element of what she's saying here. As a husband, you do want to help out your wife. A husband and father does have a role to play when it comes to alleviating stress in the woman that is married to's life, especially when they just had a child. Now, there are men who do this differently. Some men, they will, like, for example, myself, right? I told my wife, any child we have, I will take care for the first month. I would take the night shift. And if you guys know anything about that first month after a child is born, that night shift is possibly one of the hardest shifts you can take, because your body is still getting used to the sleeplessness that you're going to endure right from that point on. And the baby at that point isn't getting much sleep. Sleeps for about 2 hours, wakes up, cries, gets fed. But I wanted to take that on. That's what I wanted to do, because I can do that. Luckily, I have the type of schedule where I'm flexible enough to help in that manner. But this is where it comes in. And this is a huge but. I'm 31 years old. I'm 31. I'm excited about the children I want to have. Nelly has already had 6 kids. And the word is, he offered and says, hey, I could get you a nanny. We could pay for that. She said no. She doesn't want anybody near her baby. The man's been through this 6 times already. This is her first child. I mean, it's great that they're married and they're having a child underneath one roof. That's all great. But this is her first experience. And it's a blessing to be able to have a child at 40 years old, because a lot of women out here cannot after that 40 mark. She's able to have a child and she wants to do it her way. He probably kept it real with her. Chances are, now this is me speculating, he probably didn't sit there at 50. The man's 50 years old and think to himself, well, I think I want to have more children at 50 years old. There's no way I want to keep having kids at 50 years old. I hope by 50, I'm chilling out. And so when you take into consideration the nuances and everything that's involved here from his perspective, you can see where he's coming from, on top of him being an entrepreneur and being busy, so on and so forth. No, I don't think this is a justification for men to not be involved with their children. And yes, I do think men need to help out. However, I think this is a very unique situation. And a man having a child at 50 years old who's getting told, no, don't hire the nanny to help take care of the kid, introduces other factors that I think, you can be understanding.
You could tell that she was bothered in her response when she was like, I just think that's like kind of You could tell she probably wanted to cuss him out. I think that's kind of whack that you could just sit there and sleep through a crying child and not want to get up and get your own son. That's what you should have said. Nelly is a real piece of work. And it's like the audacity, because this girl settled for you. And I feel like in a way, it was because of what people were saying that made her say, well, I'm spinning the block. He's familiar. He's a familiar place. So I'm going to just land here, right? Because y'all was talking about her being in her 40s, living her best life and being child free. Like that was failures for her as a woman. Now it makes all the sense when her sister had put out that like cryptic message about how
Okay, now we're getting into gossipy chick shit that I don't care about. Last point here, like they're sitting here going, she was child free and you guys made her feel like a failure. She obviously didn't want to be child free, otherwise she wouldn't have gotten married. Some of you women need to stay child free. The last thing any one of you women need is a child or a husband. Some of you need to stay exactly where you're at. Worst case, even a son, right? That would be horrible. It'll be terrible. And to think Ashanti settled at 40 years old, come on. Let's just come back to reality. I'm not saying their marriage is fail-proof and it's going to last forever. We already know that celebrity divorce rates are a lot worse than the general public. But come on, let's bring it back to reality here.
Nelly and Ashanti are the perfect reason as to why marriages need gatekeepers, because we don't all speak the same language. Most married people know to stay out of other married folks' business. You don't know what they got going on over there. Some marriages are weird, some marriages are normal, but you don't want to find out. My wife and I actually loved watching the Nelly and Ashanti story on Peacock. There was some subjects that they did not dive deep into, and as a married man and woman, we understood. And there was some subjects that they did dive into, and you know what we said? They business is they business. The secret to a happy marriage is it's a secret. I'm pretty sure the issues and problems that y'all complaining about, that y'all saw on screen, are probably not what they even worry about in real life. Bottom line, you can lose out on a really good relationship letting people poke their nose in your marriage. They just offered a little sneak peek into what was going on in their marriage, and y'all are dissecting everything. Are y'all okay? Who has the time? If you are working on your own issues, who has the time to worry about somebody else's issues? I personally am so busy worried about myself, my family, and everything else. I don't want to hear about nobody else's life. But I get it. Y'all don't like sitting with y'all own life long enough, so you got to poke holes in everybody else's life. Whatever.
There was a clip of Nelly and his wife talking, and she pretty much says, like, you sleep through the baby. Like when the baby's crying, you sleep through it. And he says, I know, right? It's like a superpower. And so he's obviously being funny about it, and people are probably watching like, how dare you, so on and so forth. You know, there's a study that was done where they got couples and they made them go to sleep. Right? These were couples who just recently had a newborn, and they observed something very interesting. When the baby would cry, the mother would be more likely to react and wake up and respond and attend to the baby, right? When the mother heard the sound and the noise of the baby crying, she awoke. She was attuned to that baby, the cry, and would attend to the baby. And the fathers in those situations wouldn't be as responsive as the mother. In fact, some of them could sleep through it. But when there was a noise outside of the window or rustling of leaves or trees or outside the door, the woman would sleep through it, but the man would wake up. And so what would the life as a construct feminist people believe? They would say something along the lines of, we just need to socialize men so that they could react the same way that women do. While that may be possible for some men, the obvious fact here and what that study showed is that men are different. And the unfortunate thing is that we live in a world where people don't understand this. They've been raised to think that men have the same type of attachment for a newborn and a child as a woman does. But men don't. They don't react the same way. They don't have the same urge to be nurturing and caring. Men and women are different. This is also points to why some women say things like, why can a man just walk away from a child that he created? Now, again, it doesn't mean that any of these things are good or men should do these things. It's not, there shouldn't be a justification for why you shouldn't help out. That's not the point of this. But you have to understand the same way that all of a sudden, if I say, why aren't women the first ones to physically defend an intruder or somebody who wants to fight you in the streets, right? If you have a couple, danger comes, why isn't the woman the first one to jump? That isn't her natural proclivity. Men have a chemical called vasopressin. It's involved in both the protective nature of a man when he has a family and has a child, and also the aggressive nature of that man. Men and women are different. And for a man to bond with the child and for a man to bond with the woman, he doesn't bond through sex with that woman. He bonds with the chemical vasopressin, which is built over a period of time of like overcoming challenges and stress, right? It usually gets released via stress. So this is why you'll see men who bond via sports or, you know, them trying to solve a particular issue. Men would typically bond that way. So side note, you know, if you're just giving up the coochie to any man for nearly next to nothing, the likelihood of him sticking around are very, very slim.
I can see why a lot of y'all are single, and I can see why a lot of y'all are not in marriages, and why a lot of y'all have to take on relationships the way that y'all have to take on relationships. Because the looking at y'all saying what y'all saying about Cornell and Ashanti, it's trauma there, and y'all need to go touch the grass. Because let's be serious. You really think that this lady waited 44 years to have a goddamn baby? To go through some of the shit that she is going through purposefully because Nelly has offered to get her a nanny. She said no. She doesn't want all these people around her baby. Nelly is also 50 years old. That man is a grandfather. You actually think that man wants to change some goddamn diapers and wake up in the middle of the night knowing that he take care of 2 different households, 6 different children, all these businesses that he does have. Him performing at the inaugural ball, after I sat there and watched it, he needed the money. He never said that he's not open to moving to New York. He just doesn't want to move to New York. He is open to move to New York. Him changing a diaper, I don't know too many men that change diapers. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know too many men that change diapers. But also, he is 50. You really think that Ashanti took her sweet time to have children just to end up with somebody that... I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know too many men that change diapers. But also, he is 50. You really think that Ashanti took her sweet time to have children just to end up with somebody that she did not have detailed conversation with? You could tell that they talk. You could tell that they have compromise. You could tell that they see each other's point of view in the show. You can tell.
Yeah. I think this also might be a married woman for the way that she's talking. And she had a lot of good points there. I agree with everything that she says. This commentator says, finally somebody said it. Another person who says they read too much into it. He even said once the baby can talk and walk, it's a wrap. The kid is with him. Yeah. Changing diapers, man. You know, changing diapers to me was nothing when it came to children, because you guys know I was CNA for like 10 years. You know, I've changed grown people's diapers for like 10 years straight. And so when it came to if I'm going to change a stranger's diaper, for me personally, it was nothing for me to change my child's diaper. Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon to be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.